Hey folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. That's Adrian.
And that's Glenn.
And today we're going to do something a little different. We're actually going to check out a Rick Beato video that talks about the future, or not even so much the future, but the present of rock music in popular music right now. It appears to be on the rise. It's eating up a lot of ground that was previously held by hip hop. So I wanted to kind of bring in his video and go over bits of it, because he goes over a lot of data that I think we'd actually be pretty interested in seeing. So he's looking at data of music, okay? And you'll see why this is important.
So one of the first things in here is the primary genre trend chart. You'll notice that it says that hip hop at 27% and pop at 27% are the two top genres right now. The next is country at 20%, then rock 19%, R&B is at 9%, Latin is at 6%, and then at the bottom here is dance or electronic music. If you go to the next chart, this is where it gets interesting, because then you look at essentially 2019 to 2023. So the last 4 years, what the trends are. And you'll notice that this top thing here is hip hop music, which has actually gone down a lot.
Yeah, so you see that right there? You see what he's kind of getting at?
Yeah. Well, for a while, it seemed like hip hop was enjoying all the glory that the rock had in like the 70s and 80s.
It was, and that was why I had tuned out for quite some time on what was on the charts and what was happening in music, in the contemporary, because I was just bored, because look, 2020, hip hop, 58%, so it's cut more than in half. But anyway, let's just go on. And rock has taken a big chunk of that.
It's gone from 53% dominance, then 58% in 2020, but now it's way down to 27%. So hip hop is going down in the way it's represented on the charts. People are less interested in hip hop music. I would say that pop music has stayed relatively the same. And then the things that are on the rise are really country and rock seem to be on the rise. It says right here, since 2022 to 2023, country has moved from 8% up to 20% of its representation on the Billboard charts. That's a 150% increase. That's massive. Rock has moved up from 12% to 19%. That's a 58% increase, which is cool. And like I said, hip hop is down 37%.
So I consider this to be a really good sign, because, and nothing against hip hop or dance music or anything like that, but I feel like the more introspective music is the stuff that you would hear in pop and rock and country. Yeah, there may be some introspection in hip hop, but generally that's not what people go to hip hop for, as far as I can tell. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong, please, because I may be. Let's keep listening.
I think people are getting tired of hip hop. I noticed that the trap beats, that drum sound that you used to hear constantly on the chart when I started doing these top 10 countdowns a few years ago, really has disappeared. I think people are just bored with it. And then if that's going to come down, something's going to replace it. And it seems to be rock and country are moving up. The prominent use of guitar surged to the highest level in over a decade. This is due in part to both the rise in country and rock, as we just said in the last segment. Conversely, the use of piano has been on the decline. If you look at the chart, you'll see this instrument prevalence here. Guitar is in red and piano at 16% is in green.
Yeah. So I think Adele put out a record in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. And Adele is, I think, mostly considered a piano singer-songwriter. So I noticed there's a huge spike in piano in 2021.
Oh, yeah.
But I do like that the number there, look at the numbers for guitar, the red one there, 2019, 30%.
It's almost doubled since
to 61%, last year. That's good news. It also explains a little bit why we're seeing bands like The Warning, who, yes, I know they were around before that, but still, they were in development. They've really kind of come out in about this time period. And they're very successful. So there may be something to that. I think that this is a great sign for the future of music. I think for a lot of years now, people have thought music is stale. Like, it's not even worth turning on whatever you listen to for the new music. It's all the same. And yeah, for a while, it was all just those hi-hats that go...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
You know, there's a lot of that. Like, I think there's a name for them. I forget what it is. Not machine gun hi-hats, but like something like that. Like, just like chainsaw or something like it. Just... No. Anyway, not to insult any genre of music, but I think the more expressive ones, the ones where you find the singer-songwriters, are the ones where you're also going to find the pianos and guitars and things, which by and large are going to be rock, country, pop music. But for a long time, you just didn't see those things very much. Now he's talking about average song length.
Article in the Washington Post about a week and a half ago about how songs are getting shorter and shorter. And they actually showed from the 1960s when songs were routinely under 3 minutes. And then that peaked in the 1990s, the early 90s, really, at over 4 minutes. And now they're back under 3 minutes. Most of the songs on the pop charts are 2 minutes. It's really interesting because I was driving my daughter Layla to school. She said to me, can you play some new songs? So I start playing new songs. We were listening to that song Greedy by Tate McRae. 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And then the next song we listened to was 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Then 2 minutes and 18 seconds. She said, is every song under 3 minutes? I said, yeah. And so I said, you know, all the Beatles' early songs are under 3 minutes too. So I start playing the Red album, the 62 to 66 album. And really all those songs are under 3 minutes. Love Me Do, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Please Please Me, 2:01. From Me to You, 1:57. The Beatles had multiple bridges in these songs. They had intros, they had solos, they had everything. And they fit all this stuff in these amazing songs that you can listen to for the next 60 years or so. So after looking at the Beatles songs, I said, Layla, how long do you think Smells Like Teen Spirit is? She says, I have no idea. So we looked it up. It's 5 minutes and 1 second long.
So I consider all of this... Now, the song length thing, he went into it. We didn't actually see it in the video, but he mentioned, well, first of all, the songs were just better written at the time than they are now. There was more time put towards them, and they tended to kind of hit the emotions. And there was no internet, which rips our attention away at the blink of an eye. That's another reason that the songs are shorter now. They don't want to lose the audience before the song's over. That's a very real thing. Things like that, those calculations happen all the time in music and in programming and everything. So anyway, I thought this was a good sign. So the Grammys just happened, and a bunch of things. I looked at them, which is not something that I normally would do, really. I mean, I might check in with them a little bit here and there. Years have gone by recently that I didn't even check at all in with what was going on. But this year I did, and it turns out they had an amazing show. First off, I think every single record that was up for Album of the Year, I may be wrong, but I think they were all female singer-songwriters and artists. You know, you've got your Taylor Swifts, you've got your Olivia Rodrigo, your Lana Del Rey's. You know, these are all artists that I'm coming around to now. Taylor Swift I'm still working on, but Olivia Rodrigo is actually a very good songwriter. She's a songwriter for this generation. So it's not necessarily the fact that an older generation would listen to her music and connect directly with it, but maybe they would. I hear the Beatles, I hear psychedelic influences, and the ability to tell a good story and to put in the appropriate amount of detail and humor and other things. So she's got that skill, and that is surprising because I don't think I ever took her seriously because she started off somewhere in the Disney empire, I think as a child actor. I'm not exactly sure. I have to look into that. So that's a nice surprise. But the other great thing is that she inspires millions of people. She's a big artist. And I've basically ignored her, but she has 2 albums out now. And I think she won Song of the Year. She's an artist where Taylor Swift was the person that inspired her. So Taylor Swift is already a legacy artist that is inspiring a new crop of songwriters. There's 2 things to pull away from it is rock music does seem to be coming back because I listened to a few things at the Grammys and I'm like, you know, there's a lot of rock and roll behind some of this. It's not necessarily the straight up stuff we used to get, but there's heavy influences. There's real instruments, you know, there's electric guitars with overdrive and real drum kits and things.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot these days, I think.
Well, it's saying a lot from maybe last year or something. It seems to be a trend, a good trend, and it explains a lot. So I like this. I think this means we should be looking for more modern artists to react to. And of course, with them, we won't have much of any reference except for anything that we might have read about them. Like I say, I have respect for Olivia Rodrigo, but I have a long way to go to really get to understand and go through her catalog. But what I've heard, I like. That's going to count for numerous artists that are making music today that aren't as high profile, as well as the ones that are high profile, and we celebrate the high profile because they're going to inspire more people. So that's why I like seeing something that looks like it's going to be a quality artist, somebody that may actually stick around for a while and make a lot of good music. So those were my thoughts. By the way, 4 things I wanted to mention from the Grammys that I was impressed by. Fast Car. They had Tracy Chapman out there with the country artist that just covered her song. He was cool. He was very reverential. Olivia Rodrigo, this is part of why I started thinking about that. Plus Beato had mentioned it. She did Vampire, I believe, and it sounded really good. Joni Mitchell got up there and did Both Sides Now with a whole bunch of other artists coming up and singing with her and showing her great reverence. Joni gets a throne now, basically. They don't move her around much. They just sit here, and they actually spun the whole thing around to show the audience, like, hey, there's Joni. And it was very cool. And then Billy Joel hasn't written a pop song in 30 years. He wrote a new pop song and he performed it at the end, and it was really quite good. It was a pretty strong song. I was like, all right, cool. All good things. So, I mean, I consider those 4 events to be good things in regards to songwriting for today and for the future. So we may have things to react to that are much more contemporary, but that people might like anyway and may not even realize exists. We'll have to see about that. Okay, so anybody out there, if you know what I'm talking about, or if you're saying, oh yes, I've been saying this about my favorite artist forever and nobody listens to me, put your favorite artist below and give us a suggestion, and maybe we'll just go ahead and take a look at it. So with that, I think we're gonna end this one. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and if you enjoyed our presentation, please subscribe. All right, and we'll catch you on the next one, folks. Take care.
See you all later.